yes.
Well, greetings and welcome to the White House, if you don't feel welcome already. Tonight, we mark not only the visit of a friend, but also we celebrate a nation's return to democracy. Historic events such as the rebirth of Uruguayan democracy do not just happen. They're the outcome of the hard work, courage, and commitment of extraordinary individuals. Tonight, it's my honor to be hosting such an extraordinary individual, a man who shepherded his country through the rocks and crevasses of military rule and safety back to freedom. Speaking for his fellow countrymen earlier this year, President Sanguinetti said, "We know we want democracy. We know we want the observance of human rights. We know we want the self-determination of the people. We know we want the enforcement of the principles of international law within our America. We know we want peace." Well, Mr. President, we share those goals, and we also know what we want. We want to be friends with those who love liberty, people like yourself and your fellow citizens of Uruguay. As I indicated in my welcoming remarks this morning, the love of freedom is an integral part of the national identities of our two countries. One need only think back to the hero whose birthday your country celebrates this week, General Jose Artigas, a romantic and dashing figure if there ever was one. This brave man, along with his army of gauchos, fought a courageous fight for freedom and independence. Once he had won the day, unlike so many other so-called leaders throughout the world, he did not march to the capital. Instead, he lived in the countryside, content with the title, Protector of Free Peoples, which his countrymen had affectionately bestowed upon him. Mr. President, as the elected leaders of democratic governments, we too are the protectors of the people, not just at home, but wherever people struggle for liberty. And if you will pardon me for turning around a quotation from General Artigas, today, for those who live in democracy, the challenge is for us to be as brave as we are enlightened. So I would ask all of you to join me in a toast to a modern-day hero of freedom, President Sanguinetti, and his good lady, and the people of Uruguay. Thank you.
Tradúzcame párrafo a párrafo porque voy a hacerlo improvisado. Señor presidente, amigos, usted ha hablado de dos cosas que honra mucho el pueblo uruguayo: de amistad y de Artigas, que es nuestro padre fundador.
Mr. President, dear friends, you have spoken just now of some two things which are especially dear to us Uruguayans, friendship and General
Y
Artigas.
sobre ambas cosas quisiera recordar porque ambas se emparietan históricamente.
I would like to speak about both of these
Para
things
decir-
because they are both related historically.
Para decir que la amistad entre nuestros pueblos nace precisamente en los tiempos de Artigas. Las historias no cuentan demasiado que Artigas solo encontró apoyo en los Estados Unidos y que tuvo que luchar con incomprensiones muy grandes en América y en Europa.
The friendship between our peoples was born during the time of Artigas' life. Artigas had only the support of the United States. He was received with very great misunderstanding all over the Americas as well as in Europe.
Toda su cultura política había venido de aquí.
All of his political culture and education came from here.
Él era un hombre de armas y
He
un
was
hombre
a
de
man-
campo.
He was a man of arms, a man of the country.
Y el common sense de Thomas Paine
Common sense of Thomas
le
Paine
había explicado lo que eran las ideas de la libertad
had already explained to him what the ideas of freedom were,
y él las había cogido en su corazón
and he had taken them into his heart.
y con increíble honestidad y tenacidad las sostuvo todo el tiempo.
And with incredible tenacity and honesty, he stuck to them throughout.
Yo quiero recordar que en el año 1815, precisamente cuando las provincias del Río de la Plata le dieron el título de protector de los pueblos libres, él quedó un poco solo.
I would like to remind you that in 1815, precisely when the provinces of the River Plate region gave him the title or the name protector, he found himself quite alone.
En ese momento venía no solo la lucha con el imperio español, sino con el imperio portugués, muy fuerte entonces.
At that time, he was fighting not only against the Spanish Empire, but also against the Portuguese, which at that time was very strong.
Entonces, el secretario de Estado del presidente Madison era Monroe. Y Monroe envió una misión y conoció a Artigas. Y Artigas le pidió apoyo para poder enfrentar al imperio portugués. Y lo hizo con marinos de Baltimore.
So the Secretary of State of President Madison, of President Monroe rather, who was James Madison at the time, sent a mission to see General Artigas, and General Artigas asked for American support against the Portuguese. The Americans gave that support in the form of seamen from Baltimore.
Apoyado por esos marinos americanos, rompió el bloqueo portugués.
So supported by these naval people from the United States, from Baltimore, Artigas broke the Portuguese blockade.
Y ya entonces aparecieron asociadas la idea de la libertad política y también de la libertad de comercio.
It was from then that the idea of political freedom and freedom of trade appeared in association.
El año siguiente, la situación es mucho más difícil para Artigas y se produce un debate muy interesante en el Congreso de Estados Unidos.
The next year, the situation got a lot worse for Artigas, and a very interesting debate took place in the U.S. Congress.
Por suerte ya Monroe era presidente.
Fortunately, by that time, James Monroe was
Entonces
president,
conocía muy bien la situación.
and he was very well aware of the situation.
Y el secretario de Estado era Quincy Adams.
The Secretary of State then was James Quincy Adams.
Y Clay, bueno, que estaba un poco enfrente de ellos políticamente,
And Clay, who was a bit ahead of them politically,
asumió una posición que era contraria a Artigas.
assumed a position against Artigas.
Ahí viene una discusión que sería un poco difícil de reproducir aquí.
Then came a debate which would be slightly difficult to reproduce here.
Pero puedo decir que en el Congreso americano se discutió muy en profundidad todo esto.
But I can tell you that the U.S. Congress debated this in great
Y que en
depth.
definitiva predominó la posición de Monroe, de Quincy Adams,
And in the final analysis, the position of Monroe and John Quincy Adams prevailed.
y que allí se dijo que Artigas era el único verdadero demócrata de la revolución del Río de la Plata.
And
Si
there-
mal no recuerdo, la frase era este bravo y caballeresco republicano general Artigas. Brave and gentle.
And there it was said that General Artigas was the only real Democrat of the River Plate provinces. And I think, if I'm not mistaken, the phrase was, this brave and chivalrous Republican.
Republican general Artigas. Podríamos seguir hablando de esto, pero solo quiero recordar ahora que en 1820 se puso la estrella de Artigas y fue derrotado.
We could continue talking about this longer, but I would just recall that in 1820, the star over Artigas set and he was defeated.
Abandonado, tomó el camino del exilio.
Abandoned then, he chose the road of exile.
Y recibió entonces una carta de Monroe, que se conserva felizmente,
And he received then a letter from James Monroe, which fortunately still survives.
en la cual le ofrecía el asilo de los Estados Unidos.
In this letter, Monroe offered asylum in the United States.
Y le decía que no solo tendría aquí una existencia tranquila, sino una pensión acorde con su condición y con su rango.
This letter said that not only would he be allowed to lead a peaceful life here, but that he would be given also a stipend or a pension in keeping with his condition in life and his rank.
En el más triste momento de su vida, la única voz que estuvo cerca fue esa.
At the very saddest moment in his life, the only voice he had nearby was that one.
Y aquel hombre derrotado militarmente triunfó, sin embargo, espiritualmente.
And that man who was defeated militarily triumphed spiritually.
Porque creó un país con una idea de libertad.
Because he created a country with an idea, an ideal, and that ideal was the ideal of freedom.
Vea usted, señor presidente, qué viejos lazos, qué viejas raíces hay en esta amistad.
So you see, Mr. President, how old are the ties which bind us in this friendship.
Han pasado un siglo y medio.
A century and a half have passed.
Nuestros pueblos han prosperado, han crecido, han escrito una historia.
Our nations have prospered, have grown, and have had their history.
Lo importante es que seguimos siempre animados de la misma bandera.
The important thing is that we continue inspired by the same banner, the same flag,
La bandera de la libertad.
the flag of freedom.
Porque esa bandera nunca se abata. Señor presidente, quiero brindar junto a su señora, a usted y a todos los amigos, en nombre de aquella vieja amistad siempre renovada por los Estados Unidos.
I would like to propose a toast that that flag of friendship and of freedom never be struck down. So together with your wife and you and all our friends here present, I would like to propose a toast to that old friendship which is always renewed.